So today, guys, we're talking about Modern Warfare 3 2023. And if I sound incredibly bored, it's because that's how this campaign made me feel. This short 3.5 hour experience is the most boring thing I've ever played. So if you want a quick review, something that you just want to be able to get into, your short review, if you will, that's it. It's boring, and the game itself is short. Now, obviously, there's multiplayer and zombies, and Warzone, and all of that good stuff, and we'll get to that when that comes out. But that's my quick summary of this campaign. It's short and it's boring, but like always, I'm going to over-explain myself and make this an overly long video. So let's go ahead and get into that process. So to understand my level of disappointment here, you have to understand how I feel about both the original and new series of Modern Warfare games. I pretty much like them in reverse order. For the original 3, Modern Warfare 3, then 2, then 1. And then for the new ones, I like Modern Warfare 1, then 2, then 3. So it's kind of interesting how that inverted whenever they remade them. But some stuff to just get out of the way early, stuff I like to talk about and bring up, but isn't too important to the overall game, is stuff like performance, right? I'm not saying performance doesn't matter, because look at something like Cyberpunk, but overall, graphically, you're getting what you come to expect. The out-of-game cutscenes that are completely pre-rendered and all that stuff look absolutely fantastic, like they always do. And then the in-game stuff looks like Call of Duty. It's for its relatively small size and what it, tends to do. It looks fine. It's not the best-looking game ever, but by no means does it look bad. It looks like Call of Duty. It hasn't taken that next generational leap like a lot of games have, but again, at no point does this game ever look poorly or ugly. Now, I did, in my 3.5 hour playtime, have 4 crashes. So if you factor that in, if you will, I haven't seen anybody else talking about crashes, but my game did hard crash to the dashboard 4 times during my playthrough. So if that's something that really bothers you, if you're really into it and that pulls you out of the immersion, however immersed you can get in a 3-hour campaign, that is a problem that I have. Now, I've mentioned it a couple times already at this point in the video. It is a 3 to 4 hour campaign on regular difficulty. If you up it to the most difficult veteran difficulty, maybe it'll be 5 hours, but it's still a short campaign, and even for Call of Duty, that's a short campaign. Call of Duty typically sets at 6 for the average length campaign, and then some of the longer ones going on to 10 hours. But this one I finished in about 3.5. My playtime's a bit off because I left the game open and went to go do something in the middle of playing it, but about 3.5 hours to complete the campaign. Now, obviously, you can go back through, and just like the Modern Warfare 2 campaign, and maybe even Modern Warfare 2019, there's collectibles to get here, right? You can go back through and find all of the weapons and the emblems and all of the XP boosts that you're going to get when multiplayer comes out. But just going through and doing the missions once, the 15 missions, it's about 3.5 hours. And so let me break down the campaign a bit, because it's not your traditional Call of Duty campaign, and that's really where my problems start with the campaign. So they have these open combat missions, is what they call them, and they're kind of just what I would call open zone missions, instead of the more linear approach Call of Duty tends to take. And I want to say about 7 of the 15 missions are this open zone type of mission. And so what they do is they throw you in this area comparable to, like, if you've played the Battlefield campaign, a mission of that type, where it's not huge, it's not like this huge DMZ or Warzone type area, but it's a decent size to where they give you vehicles. It's kind of like the Spec Ops missions within the Modern Warfare 2 and older games, and you have objectives to do, and you can choose how to approach those objectives, whether you want to do them stealthily or going in and guns blazing. However you choose to do them, they want to give you a little bit of customization and an option to do things the way you want to do them, but for the most part, like in this one, this is the earliest one, you have to find shipping containers, right? And the shipping containers, you can go around stealthily, but the game's not difficult enough, and really Call of Duty is meant to be in this action shooter type genre. The stealth missions are cool when they're there, but they're not always going to be the most fun way to play the game, and that's what a lot of these open combat missions want you to do. They want you to do that stealth approach, and that's just not the most fun way to play it. So while you can like these open combat missions, it's not particularly my thing for Call of Duty. I have no problem with these big open area type games. If you watch a lot of my videos, you know I love open world games, that's my thing. But for Call of Duty, what they're good at is the super linear, on the track, on rails, heavily scripted, like you're playing a movie. That is what Call of Duty is good at. And when I get to talking about the parts of that are in this game, those are the parts that are good. There's just not a lot of them, and that's the problem. Call of Duty is heavily split between the multiplayer and the campaign. The multiplayer, in my opinion, has been boring for a long time. They needed to innovate. They tried to innovate with the exosuits. It didn't work. They're trying to go down this more tactical route, and depending on who you ask, it worked or it didn't work. Sales-wise, it worked. They make a shit ton of money now. But the campaigns, at least for me, always worked. You always have this over-the-top, super Hollywood Mission Impossible type story with the bad guy and explosions and car chases and jumping out of helicopters and halo jumping and all this crazy shit, right? If you remember the launch trailer for Modern Warfare 2, fucking 2022, that's when the game came out, where he's hanging upside down out of the helicopter by a rope and shooting with his pistol at guys on motorcycles. That is what Call of Duty is good at. The stupid, crazy shit. That is what their bread and butter is and what they need to stick to, right? When they give you this big open area to play the game how you want to play it, it doesn't work. So that's about 50% of the problem with this campaign. Let's talk about the other 50%. So, aside from the performance and the crashing and all of that good stuff and the guns repeating from the last game, and I don't just mean in a way where there was an AK-12 in the last game and it's a AK-15 in this game. I mean, it's literally the same exact gun with the same exact name that behaves in the same exact way, right? And like the F-Tal Recon Marksman Rifle or whatever the hell it was called, the X-12 pistol, it's just a fucking Glock, but it's the same gun. At least they have the decency to change the numbers on the guns between games. It's just the same thing. So that's part of my problem, but that's just a nitpick. The way the Call of Duty campaigns, story-wise, are typically constructed is you get an introduction mission, at least the good campaigns. You get your introduction to the team and the people and all of that stuff. That might take a mission or two. Then you'll get introduced to a bad guy. You chase down bad guy through leads, typically. You have like a sub-bad guy that leads you to the main bad guy. And then within the last couple of missions, you're hot on the bad guy's trail. And you chase him down, you kill him, the game ends. Typically one of the side characters will die, and that's your Call of Duty campaign. Nothing crazy, maybe there's a twist in there. Somebody who you thought was good is actually bad. Nothing insane, though. Here, we have a problem with the Modern Warfare 3 campaign. It starts out just balls to the walls, bad guys here, right? Makarov's here, you set him free in the first mission. The difference between the original games and what I would consider the good campaigns and this one is Makarov's in Modern Warfare 2. You get no Russian, you get him working with Shepard in the end of Modern Warfare 2, which builds him up to Modern Warfare 3, and then even within Modern Warfare 3, 2011 Modern Warfare 3 that is, you have to chase like his right-man hand, Volk, and then you chase the guy in Africa, and you go through all of these missions and submissions of chasing this intel to get to chasing Makarov. That is this massive build, which leads the stakes and this huge climax. People are dying, and it's fantastic. Here, you're just chasing Makarov the whole time, and every time you get close to him, he gets away, or you can't find him. Now, I say that like it's this long, drawn-out thing, but it's only fucking 3.5 hours. But it feels like you're chasing him for 14 hours. Every single mission is, let's go find Makarov, let's go find Makarov. Oh, he wasn't here, oh, he wasn't here, oh, he wasn't here, oh, he wasn't here. And then you finally find him. Right? And then, guess what? Spoilers, fucking gets away. Right? You finally catch up to him and like shit starts happening. Oh, the interesting part of the campaign is finally starting to develop, and then he just gets away. I firmly believe that there were 3 missions that were given forethought and like planned from the beginning, and then the rest of this was rushed. There's the flashback mission, which gives you the origin of how Price and Task Force 141 interact with Makarov, how they first met, right? Their relationship with Makarov. That is a well put together mission, right? They do the no Russian type thing a couple of times in this game to try to give you that shock value. Like, look, Makarov is a bad guy. But that's already established. That's already set up. You don't need to show me that 14 times. But whatever, that's beside the point. So you have the setup mission. Then you have the freeing of Makarov, the first mission to establish he's the bad guy for the game. He's out. This is the big opening mission. He needs to look cool and all flashy for the game. Fine. Then there's the final mission, and spoilers, where you're chasing down Makarov, you're hot on his trail. It's a big action set piece. All of these 3 missions, what they all have in common is they're the Call of Duty set pieces. They're absolutely insane, balls to the wall, shit's going crazy, absolute AAA insanity. There's trains flying all over the place, bombs going off, Soap gets fucking shot in the head. It's fantastic, these 3 levels. And then the rest of the game just sucks. And the problem with that, it would be one thing if the rest of the game just sucked, and they had a decent beginning, middle, and end, and they couldn't connect the pieces. But the problem is that the way they chose to connect the fucking pieces is they take just Warzone elements and shove them into the game. And if you don't believe me, the game takes place in Verdansk. Half the game. The fire stations from Verdansk, that's a level. The ports from Verdansk, that's a level. The dam from Verdansk, that's a level. And so I'm not saying that every single level in this game is recycled, because there are 15 of them. Most of them are at somewhat stealing something from another game. Now, it's fucking Call of Duty. I don't expect every single idea to be original in Call of Duty. They remake the same game every single year. That's not incredibly, a new concept to me. But this part right here, like this, when they do new stuff, this is cool as shit. You know how many times you've disarmed a bomb in Call of Duty? Every single one. You've never done it like this before. This is cool. It's something new. I could have done that like 4 more times throughout the game, and I would have enjoyed that. That part was cool. They have cool mechanics here. They have interesting stuff, right? Using the Warzone mechanics and all that stuff in Modern Warfare 2 to make that cool car chase. That's dope as shit. But here, they just use it to slap you in a recycled area, and that means absolutely nothing to just chase Makarov for a little bit longer to make the game even longer. Soap's death isn't as good as it originally was, right? I'm happy they did it. It needed to die. Somebody needed to die. Some sort of stake needed to occur in this game. But it wasn't where it needed to be, right? I'm happy they did it. I'm happy somebody died. I'm happy there were some stakes in the campaign at all. But it's nowhere near to the original scene, so we'll just get that out of the way. Call of Duty has a distinct problem where everyone is crying for them to innovate, but every time they innovate, it's worse than just sticking to what they were doing before. Now, I'm not saying I hate everything new they do, but a lot of it I fucking hate. And I'm not even talking about the multiplayer in Warzone and zombies and DMZ or any of that. I'm strictly talking about the campaign. Take all of this like customization and like open area, armored enemies, take all that shit out of the game, put it on rails, incredibly scripted, like I'm watching a fucking movie. You know what I tend to think of when I want to talk about the Call of Duty campaigns? I hate the Call of Duty World War II campaign. I do not think that is a good campaign. But there's one scene where there's a train crash, right? And that train crashes for like a solid minute and a half. It looks fucking awesome. It doesn't have any significance. Is it like a character moment or anything like that? No, not at all. It's just a train blowing up and crashing and flying off the tracks. But it looks cool as shit. And that's what I pay $70 every single year to get from Call of Duty. I want to see some cool shit. I want to have a gunfight. I want a clean house. I want an all gillied up. I want to know Russian. That's all I want. I just want some crazy gunfight, AAA action type shit. And again, I'm repeating myself for a reason, because I'll get a comment that says, oh, but that's here, this mission and that mission and this mission and that mission. Yes, it's here, but it's about 30% of the game. And 30% of 3.5 hours isn't a lot. I'm not going to replay this campaign, because I don't want to have to play the open world missions again. I'm not going to play this on veteran, because I don't want to have to play the, what the fuck are they called, the open combat missions again. I'm tired of looking at Warzone and Verdansk. I don't want to have to go back to Verdansk again. I want to play a story with the characters that I like, where they do some crazy shit. That's all I ask of you. Now, where does this leave us for Modern Warfare as a franchise, for the story as a whole? There's very little of it here, but let me just do a summary recap as to where we are. So, what did this game actually give us in the new Modern Warfare timeline? What progression did we make? Well, Soap is dead. You're about to see here in a second, General Shepard is dead. Graves, you know, the guy that was in a tank and like one of the main bad guys from the last game, and then you like do a bunch of C4 and blow up the tank that he was in.
Somehow Palpatine returned.
So he's still alive. Somehow. They don't explain it. He's just talking on one of the first couple of missions, and he's not dead, and you're fine working with him, but whatever. Makarov gets away, and you're still chasing him. So there really was no progression to this game other than Soap's death. I feel like, you know, when they were talking about this game last year, and I made a video on what this game was supposed to be last year, and I talked about, oh, well, they're going to have a gap here, right? They're going to have Modern Warfare 2 carry for 2 years, 2022 and 2023. Release this as a DLC, a story DLC, and then make Modern Warfare 3 in 2024, which was the original plan, right? That's what they should have done, because this feels like a DLC. Right? I talked about Assassin's Creed Mirage feeling like a DLC for Assassin's Creed Valhalla, but this feels so much like a DLC, and each Call of Duty already feels like a DLC of each other so much that it's a problem when I say a Call of Duty game feels like a DLC, and I paid $70 for it. A lot of what's here that I'm showing you are the enjoyable parts of the game. If I showed you the parts that sucked, we'd be here all day. So I just have to talk to them, and you're gonna have to believe me, because I have about an hour and a half of content recorded, which is quite literally half the fucking game. And so my problem with that is that of this hour and a half, sorry, but you've seen pretty much most of the good parts. Everything else is just sprinting around in an open world mission, or pointless cutscene where you're chasing after Makarov and it really doesn't lead anywhere because he just fucking gets away, and they're gonna have to make a Modern Warfare 4. Hopefully that's good and not this. So, like I do every year, we'll make a score for the campaign, we'll make a score for the multiplayer, and we will make a score for the zombies, right? So this is not my Modern Warfare score as a whole. I'll take my 3 scores and average them together to make the final score, so when I'm making my best and most disappointing games of the year list, which we have about a month left, I won't completely ruin the scale by just one individual factor of the Call of Duty game. So, within the $70 package, if you want to say everything is weighted evenly, you divide by 3. So that would bring the campaign to around a $25 experience. Is this worth $25? Honestly, I don't think so, right? I think that not enough happens, and it's so short that even though it's a relatively boring story and I don't have high standards for a Call of Duty story, the action set pieces aren't interesting enough, and there's not enough of them within that already short time period to justify $70 or even $25 for this price tag. And it does not help that they release this early before the rest of the game. Like, the point of that is for the marketing stuff, right? You see the game come out, it boosts sales the week before the game comes out, and then everyone's like, oh, the campaign was so fucking good. Look at all these commercials and trailers and ads I'm getting for the campaign. I want to play that shit. So I don't even care what the multiplayer looks like and what you're going to be spending most of your time doing. That looks sick. Let me buy that now. But when it sucks, that doesn't work. So my overall score for the Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 2023 campaign is going to be a 3 out of 10. It's bad. The story sucks. There's not a lot of fun missions. About 3 of the 15 are, I can actually say I had fun playing. And that's not a lot. I had 4 crashes in 3.5 hours. That's almost a cyberpunk rate of crashing. It's had a lot of visual bugs and glitches. It's just not fantastic, unfortunately. But that's just my opinion. I know I ranted. Call of Duty is my one game where I'll make this an hour long if I have to. Call of Duty is the one thing that I know. I've played every single Call of Duty campaign since Black Ops 1 on release, and I'll sit here and talk about it because that's my bread and butter. I feel like it's real simple to get that right. You just gotta do action. That's all you have to do. But this one isn't it. If you like this game, if you like the campaign for this game, I should say, let me know what you thought of it down in the comments below, which parts you liked and didn't like, which missions, if you like those open combat missions, why you like them. If the repetitiveness of using Verdansk doesn't bother you, that's fine, I can see why you would like that. But again, it's just everybody's opinion, and let's not all hate each other. And I'll see you guys on the next one.